Order. Order. Question number 6, the Honourable Shane Jones.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister of Finance.
Order.
Does he agree with the Productivity Commission that the growing gap in labour productivity has been the main driver of an increasing disparity in GDP per capita between the two trans-Tasman economies, and given double-digit house price inflation in Auckland, doesn't this show the government's efforts to rebalance the economy towards the productive exports and jobs has failed?
Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Bill English.
In answer to the second part of the question, no. The Commission's full comment refers to New Zealand's relative decline since the mid-1970s. The Government understands those issues and has a program in place of tax reform, upgrading educational achievement and skills training, building more infrastructure, rolling out the ultra-fast broadband, perhaps some 10 years ahead of when it would have turned up in the market, and getting the government back to surplus. We believe that this program and hundreds of other initiatives will contribute to closing the productivity gap with Australia.
Supplementary question, Honourable Shane Jones.
Why does he, Mr. Speaker, to the Minister, why does he believe the government's current economic settings are correct when the Productivity Commission says that New Zealand's productivity performance shows no evidence of catching up to other countries?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, we've looked at that evidence pretty hard, and we believe that the program the government's outlined will make a difference. But I must say that in trying to turn around productivity decline dating back to the 1970s, it will take persistence over time with sensible policy and public support. And that is the recipe that this government is following, and we welcome suggestions from the retread economic spokespeople on the opposition front bench that will assist in that project.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
When did the New Zealand economy first show signs of imbalance in the current economic cycle?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, between 2001 and 2007, house prices doubled, and by 2007, first mortgage interest rates were at 10%. They're currently half of that. In the 5 years to 2008, public spending increased by 50%. The result of that was that in 2005, the export sector in New Zealand went into recession when the rest of the globe was enjoying an economic boom. It was a pretty amazing achievement.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
What is the outlook for the New Zealand economy, and how does that compare to the situation in 2008?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, the current economic outlook is for 2 to 3% growth over the next 3 years, with export growth of 2 to 3% once the effects of the drought are over. The government is expected to be in surplus in 2014-15. This compares favourably to the situation in 2006 to 2008, when the housing market was booming. First mortgage interest rates were at 10%, but the export sector had already been in recession for a couple of years. In the next 2 or 3 years, New Zealand will be one of the fastest growing developed economies and one of a handful in surplus, but there's a lot of work to do yet, particularly on productivity.
Supplementary question, Darien Fenton.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To the Minister, given the Productivity Commission's report shows that the long hours New Zealanders work has not helped improve wages or productivity, will he support an amendment to the Employment Relations Act that will require employment agreements to have a clear indication of the hours that employees must work, rather than the completely deregulated system we have now, where some workers are working dangerously long hours?
Honourable Bill English.
Well, Mr. Speaker, no workers should be put in the position where the hours of work they have are dangerous. If that is the situation, then their employers are breaching their statutory responsibilities. And I know the member has, for instance, been supporting a campaign around the forestry industry, which I think has had some impact on that industry that is positive for workers in reducing the dangers posed by long hours.
Supplementary question, David Bennett.
What alternative economic proposals has he seen, and what effect would those proposals have on productivity and the tradable sector?
Mr. Speaker, I've seen a number of proposals over recent weeks, which I think come from somewhere in the 1960s and 70s, around how to try and legislate a stronger economy with higher taxes, more spending and bigger government. I've also seen a number of proposals to shut down the dairy industry, close down the smelter, prevent all mining and stop any new irrigation, at the same time as people are proposing more jobs and regional development. It clearly doesn't make sense.
Supplementary question, Honourable Shane Jones.
To the Minister. Does he agree that the 2.5% decline in productivity recorded by Stats New Zealand in the fishing and forestry industry since 2008, the first productivity decline in those crucial regional sectors since records begun, is directly linked to his government's cuts to regional training? If not, why not?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, no, I certainly don't agree with that, although the reasons for that decline aren't well understood, and my colleague Minister Joyce and MB are doing a lot of sectoral work to understand changes in productivity. With respect to training schemes, we are still cleaning up the mess left by the last government of billions of dollars of wasted spending, misleading young New Zealanders that they were getting tradable skills when they weren't. But the clean-up is almost over, and there is help is on its way for those young New Zealanders who do want better skills.
Supplementary question, Honourable Shane Jones.
The Minister, how will he achieve his promise to close the wage gap with Australia when the Productivity Commission says that under his current economic settings, New Zealand's productivity performance shows no evidence of catching up?
Honourable Bill English.
Mr. Speaker, as I said before, the government has outlined its plan. It's all set out in detail in the business growth agenda, which has been thoroughly discussed with business, with iwi, with tertiary institutions, with industry groups. And if the member has another suggestion or two to add to the 300 policy initiatives, we're welcome. They're most welcome.
Question number 7, very eager today. Question number 7, the Right Honourable Winston Peters.